I've spent my entire life loving movies. And the crazy thing is, the film that actually ignited my passion for cinema and film all those years ago was Paul Thomas Anderson's Boogie Nights. I've said that on this channel before. A film that took massive creative risks, trusted its audience, and it happened to end with Mark Wahlberg wearing a prosthetic penis. Now 30 years later, I'm sitting here looking back at a movie that made me actively question the entire modern construct of the film industry, a movie devoid of soul, generated by a spreadsheet, completely terrified of human friction, and ends with Mark Wahlberg wearing a prosthetic penis. We've genuinely come full circle. But the tragedy is, 30 years ago it was the punchline to a cinematic masterpiece. Today, the punchline is just us, paying a monthly subscription fee to watch the algorithm eat itself.
Getting old sucks.
Welcome back to CF18. Let's get one thing out of the way immediately about Balls Up, the new Amazon MGM movie starring Mark Wahlberg and Paul Walter Hauser. It's bad.
What? No.
But it's not just a standard run-of-the-mill bad, it's puzzlingly bad. It's the kind of bad that makes you stop and ask, how did this actually happen? Look, I try and hold movies to a higher standard these days, and when a film misses the mark this spectacularly, I don't just want to complain about it. I want to understand the mechanics of the failure. Because Balls Up isn't really a movie, it's a financial instrument. These movies aren't made for people who love film or cinema. They're mathematically verified as a financial success in a boardroom before cameras ever roll. It's the perfect, terrifying example of the sociopathic spreadsheet sitting in the executive boardroom, mathematically murdering cinematic risk. Let's look at the sheer impossibility of our leading man, Mark Wahlberg. He spent the last few years aggressively rebranding as a devout, praying, moral compass of Hollywood. He's the face of the Hallow app for Catholics, yet here he is, front and centre in a raunchy comedy about marketing testicle-covering condoms. Catholics, condoms, the ideologies are violently at odds. I wonder if the mask slipped for him when the Amazon bag got too heavy. See, the system that greenlit this movie didn't care about the moral hypocrisy. If you run Mark Wahlberg's data through the machine today, his dashboard lights up green. He is strictly categorized as a top-tier, high return on investment asset for action and comedy. The algorithm ignores the paradox. It doesn't measure morality, it only measures momentum. It will rubber stamp a man with violent racial hate crimes on his criminal record because the spreadsheet says he moves the needle in international territories. The supporting cast? Paul Walter Hauser, he's a solid character actor. He's building credibility in the industry. I don't know why he's cashing it in on this one. Sacha Baron Cohen, he's dropping in for a completely lifeless caricature. Compare that to Borat, compare that to Ali G, compare that to Bruno, layered, complex, comedic vessels. You have to wonder if the divorce bills are weighing up and he's having to take slop like this.
'Cause I'd find you.
Eric Andre, chaotic, surrealist energy, and it's been completely sanded down. He isn't in the movie because he fits a creative vision, he's the algorithm's addition, a demographic net deployed specifically to scrape clicks from his existing fanbase onto the Prime Video homepage. To the studios, these guys aren't artists building a legacy. In the eyes of the modern industry, they're categorized. Hauser is what the algorithm calls a prestige multiplier. You drop a critically acclaimed name into a spreadsheet next to Wahlberg to see how the global ROI fluctuates. Swapping them into brain-dead script increases projected revenue, the decision is made instantly. There's no chemistry test, it's only maths. And then this film, the actual physical production, it looks incredibly cheap. Like 85% of it is indoors. Then the exterior shots are uncanny valley of poorly rendered CGI stadiums, actors standing in front of green screens. The script focuses on a 2025 World Cup final in Brazil that doesn't exist, I presume because they didn't have FIFA branding. They didn't actually film it in South America, they filmed it in Queensland, Australia, because the spreadsheets realised it was cheaper to exploit Australian tax offsets and work in a sterile soundstage to reduce risk of weather increment. The software doesn't care about meticulously crafted structure, it cares about frictionless engagement. It leaves us with a movie that feels like a 90-minute tech demo wearing the skin of a comedy. Now, I can hear some of you typing in the comments, calm down, it's just a silly comedy, it's not supposed to be high art. And you know what, you've got a point, but that's exactly the most dangerous part of the system. The more we accept this kind of artificial focus group mediocrity as just harmless background noise, the more the algorithm spreads. It trains the studios, they don't have to try. The algorithm learns exactly what we're willing to tolerate, and if we keep settling for the safe, optimized catch of the day, we are systematically deleting the human friction required to make something great. I can appreciate a good, raunchy comedy. The 90s were the golden era. There's Something About Mary, Kingpin, Me, Myself, Irene, Dumb and Dumber. These movies defined an entire generation of gross-out humour, and they were directed by Peter Farrelly, half of the brothers who just delivered Balls Up. But let's be real, Farrelly's just a data point, a brand name deployed by the algorithm to trigger a nostalgic response in anyone who remembers laughing in a theatre in 1998. Balls Up is basically the Gen Z carry-on film, but instead of actual comedic timing, the raunch feels like it was manufactured in a windowless basement by a marketing team. So what happened? Well, the industry changed the math. Back in the 90s, the Farrelly brothers were actually allowed to take risks, backed by endless cash flow, the safety net of the home video market. Underneath the hair gel jokes and the dead parakeets, these old movies had an actual beating heart. Today, Peter Farrelly isn't directing a movie, he's executing a spreadsheet. The cinematic equivalent of watching an influencer, dead-eyed, unhinging his jaw to aggressively inhale a crab leg.
Join us in prayer this Lent on Hallow. Stay prayed up.
If this peek behind the curtain has puckered your interest, subscribe and strap in. This channel's going to go deep over the next few weeks. We're going to tear down the crumbling foundations of Hollywood and examine exactly why movies just don't feel human anymore. Starting tomorrow, we're going to look at the terrifying pipeline of adults turning children into products, leading into us watching Michael. We're going to unpack the massive lie that was cinema of 1999, and we're going to literally name the software that's actively killing the film industry. Until then, balls up, balls off. Don't watch it. I will see you on the next one.
Movies, popcorn.